Hi, Bob the Canadian here. We're going to do a lesson today about food. I'm a little worried though that many people will get hungry while we're doing this lesson. So if you need to leave while this lesson is happening, one sec, let me just click something here. If you need to go get a snack while we're talking about food, that would be fine with me. I'm just going to check my audio here, everybody. I'm a little worried. There we go. Looks like things are working. So hey, again, welcome to this English lesson. We talked about sports last week. The week before we talked about money. The money video was a very popular topic. But yeah, welcome to this lesson on food. And it's going to be a little more less me talking about actual food and me talking about all the words and phrases around food. So let me just pop down to the chat and say hi to everybody. Hello, Tejman and Lolly. Lost is here. Welcome. Anne is here. Rachel is here again. Surya, hello. Kazim, Urzula, Chongray is here. Lila, Skyfu. Kuhn is here again. Hello, Kuhn. Santo Melendez is here, Shin Kwao is here, Karen, Chung David, Christiane, Robert Luau, Jack. The names are going by too fast for me to say all of them. Awa, Zanu, and Crystal. Welcome to the live stream, people. So we're going to talk about food today. For those of you that are wondering, if you need to run and get some popcorn before we start, do that really quick because I'm starting right now. So in English, when we talk about food, we usually use the verbs make or prepare. So in this picture here, you could equally say this person is making food, and you could say this person is preparing food. Now, I'm going to go over a lot of other words like cooking and things like that, but the general term when we talk about food is that people are either making food or preparing food. So like yesterday morning, I made some breakfast for myself. So you could say that you prepared some food or you made some food. So make or prepare are the general terms. And I think you all know this. The place that you make food is usually in the kitchen. So in Canada, people have kitchens. I think around the world people have kitchens, but we also sometimes prepare food outside on a barbecue. And I think I have a picture of a barbecue for later. So, but the place where you make food is the kitchen. Rachel says, Taiwan has a lot of delicious food. I really want to go and have some. That would be great. Red Brandy says, hi Bob, say hello from Indonesia. Awesome. Nathan says, greetings from Taiwan. Yan Ha is here. Yada is here. Lolly says, I often make pizza. Pizza is one of my favorite foods, if not my most favorite food. When you make food, you need what we call ingredients. So you can see here, this person is about to prepare something, and they have all of the ingredients for what they're going to make. So oftentimes, before I get ready to make something, I will get out all the ingredients so that I'm able to make it. So maybe some salt, maybe some flour, maybe some milk, maybe some baking powder, but I will get out all of my ingredients so that I can make food. So these are just the component foods that go into the recipe to make food. So this word's a little bit of a challenge. We had this word in an English lesson earlier. I think 4 or 5 weeks ago, we talked about hard to pronounce words. A recipe is a list of ingredients and then instructions on how to make a certain kind of food. So oftentimes, if you don't know how to make it off the top of your head, that's from memory, you would make it from a recipe. So, hello, Mustafa, how are you doing? Charlo is here, Lost is back again. Clive is here. Hello, Clive. And Hamlia says, sir, is the kitchen in Canada placed in the front part of the house or behind? It's usually one of the first rooms in the house. Usually you come in an entranceway, Hamlia, and then oftentimes you walk straight into a kitchen, and it's a place we sit a lot, just to have coffee or tea with guests. So Thiago says, hello from the Brazilians. Ingredients, salt, pepper, cheese. Oh, cheese is a great ingredient. And hello, Amir. So if a recipe is the instructions to make food, oftentimes we have a recipe book in our kitchens, actually more than one recipe book. So a recipe book is a book filled with recipes. People often have family recipes as well. So maybe there's a certain dish that you like to prepare. There's a certain dish that you like to make. And maybe it's your grandmother's recipe. So often you have recipes that you get from relatives, and they're handed down from mother to son, or from father to daughter, or something like that. And you have like a secret recipe that your family uses. But let's go over all the different ways you prepare food. A general term is that you cook it. Okay, so this guy is cooking some pasta. Cook is actually similar to make and prepare. So oftentimes we cook dinner or we cook breakfast. So anytime you need to use heat with food, you cook it. But there's a bunch of different other versions. So we can bake food. When we bake I'm having trouble talking. When we bake something, we make the recipe and we put it into an oven. So these are cupcakes or muffins. So they were baked in an oven. And we usually use the word bake for things like bread, like we bake bread. We bake pies, those kinds of things. Lolly says there's recipes on YouTube. I'm not gonna start a recipe channel, but and Lolly says cook equals cuisinier. So if you're French, the cuisinier and cook, I think, are the same verbs. Abdullah says, how you been? That's awesome that you're here. I'm glad I managed to join this. That's cool. I hope the topic's interesting. So we did bake. Another way to prepare food is to fry it. So when you fry something, it's usually in a pan with some oil or butter, or we have a product called margarine. So when you fry something, it's usually in a frying pan. You can also deep fry something, which is a deeper pan with more oil in it. And you can fry stuff in the oil as well. Barbecue or grill. So my son, this is his favorite way to prepare food, and our barbecue is broken right now. So a barbecue or grill is an outdoor place where you can cook food, or I was going to call it an appliance. I think it's an appliance. But you see here that they are grilling some meat on the barbecue. And we also use barbecue as a verb. So you could say, I'm going to barbecue some hamburgers. Omda says, oh, Sky just finished dinner. That's cool. I just finished breakfast. And then let's see here. Omda says, I'm from Sudan. I love your lessons. Thanks, Omda. And it's good morning from Pankaj. Lost is saying, we got the recipe for the best cake ever from my mom's friend. Gonna bake that cake today. Yeah, it's a good plan. Maybe do that right after the live stream. And Clive says, hi, Bob, you like cooking. So here's my theory, Clive. I love eating, so I love cooking. So I always say any person who loves to eat should learn to cook. When we prepare food, we also roast food. Generally, we use roast with meat. So you roast a chicken, you roast a ham, but you roast things in the oven. And we usually use this to describe meat. So here you can see this is we actually call this a roast as well. So to roast is a verb that means to prepare meat in the oven. But this is actually a beef roast as well. So roast is one other way. I wonder if you're gonna guess the next one. It's boil. So you can see here there's some noodles going into a pan, and this person is boiling them. So we have, I think we went through, we have one last way to cook. And that's this one. It's to steam. So I don't have a steamer like this, but I have a small appliance that we use to steam rice. and sometimes we steam vegetables. So this is when water underneath boils and the vapor, the water vapor, which we call steam, goes up through, here we have dumplings, but goes up through whatever you are steaming. So I think I covered most of the ways to cook something. Let me just double check my audio.
Have a small applause.
Yep, definitely working. So some of you don't eat meat. So in English, if you don't eat meat, we say that you are vegetarian. So vegetarians only eat vegetables, or vegan, which means that you're a vegetarian, but you also want all of your food to be prepared in a really nice way and produced in a nice way that's friendly to the earth. So steam is healthy, yes. Deep frying is not healthy. Steaming is very healthy. Sejun is here. Hey Sejun, how are you doing? And what do we do in the oven? We roast the food? No. Pies and cakes get baked in the oven, and meats get roasted in the oven. So there's a little bit of a difference there. That's good if you love eating and also cooking, yes. But me, I love eating, but I can't cook. Yeah, you should learn to cook. And Jax says, I like eating steamed veggies. It's one of my favorite ways to eat them. Here's what happens though, if you're not good at preparing food or if you're not good at cooking. Sometimes the food gets burnt. So here we have burnt toast. So the toast was in the toaster far too long, and it got burnt. And you can burn things also in the oven as well. So Doreen, I'm just laughing at Lost, says, I hate vegetables. And someone else must have said that too. If I say I'm roasting meat, yes, that would be correct. And then Doreen asks, what's the difference between bake and roast? I'm pretty sure it's just you bake treats, like you bake cookies, you bake pies, you bake cake, you bake bread. All of the stuff that you make out of flour, you bake. But you don't bake meat, you roast meat in the oven. Or you could just say you're cooking the meat as well. Just to order your food, yeah, you could do that too. Let's see here. How often do I cook? So in the summers, I cook almost every night. And in the winters, my wife cooks every night because our jobs make us busy at different times. Let's quickly go over the meals of the day, people. So we have breakfast. This is the first meal that you eat every day. A typical breakfast in Canada is usually cereal or oatmeal, sometimes fried eggs and some bread or toast. And some people still drink a lot of coffee. I drink less coffee than I used to. After breakfast, you usually have lunch. So this is the meal in the middle of the day. Usually you eat lunch at work, and I bring a lunch to work with me. A typical lunch in Canada is a sandwich. Some people will have soup, some people will have a salad, some people will have a sandwich, or a combination of all of them. And then there's usually an argument among Canadians whether the meal at night is called supper or dinner. In my house, we have supper at night, but other people do call it dinner. So supper or dinner is one of the bigger meals of the day in Canada. We usually have potatoes, we usually have applesauce, we usually have some form of meat. But you can see here there's some hamburgers. That's a pretty popular meal in Canada as well. So the chat's going by pretty quick here, but Elm Tuari says, what is your preferred meat or vegetable? I love bananas. I know that's a fruit, but that's my favorite thing to eat. And then I like pizza a lot. And then you must be from Indonesia, Hamlia, if you eat nasi goreng. Sometimes my relatives make that food, so because I'm from Dutch heritage. You can just say oats vamos for sure, yep. Let's see here. Lunch is so simple. I like to eat junk food. Yes, we're going to go over that in a sec. The other, this isn't really a meal, but one of the other things you can eat during the day is a snack. So here you have a cookie. We even call fruits and vegetables and nuts snacks. So usually for me, the first snack I have every day is a banana. So I have breakfast. Around 10:30, I have a banana, which is my morning snack. And then I have lunch, etc. So groceries are what we call food that you go buy. So that's a bad description, but you go and buy groceries from the grocery store in Canada. So we don't usually say food store. We almost always call it a grocery store. So you can see this person has a grocery basket, and the grocery basket is full of groceries. In our family, Jen, my wife, and I both get groceries whenever we need them. So groceries are when you go and buy food from the grocery store. Hi, hi, Boostacorn. And lollies don't go bananas. Yeah. In English, if someone goes bananas, it means they go crazy. So Boostacorn says, what's the difference between dinner and supper? They are the same. Some people just like to say dinner. Some people like to say supper. And there is an argument that if you have a hot meal at lunch, you can call it dinner, but it doesn't really matter. I just go with supper. This is a relatively new word in English. This is foodie. So a foodie is someone who really likes food. So a foodie might like to make a lot of different dishes at home, and a foodie might like to go out to eat in restaurants a lot. Usually foodies are always trying to eat foods from different cultures. So often a foodie will go to an Indian restaurant or a Chinese restaurant or an Indonesian restaurant, and they'll try to seek out a lot of different foods from around the world. So foodie. This is the part that I don't like. When you're all done, you have to do the dishes. So in English, we say wash the dishes. We say do the dishes. Some people have a machine called a dishwasher, and they put the dishes in the dishwasher. For me, and in our house, my wife and I and our kids, we just do the dishes by hand. So we just put them in the sink, and we put some water and some soap, some dishwashing soap in the sink, and we scrub away. And we wash the dishes, and then we dry the dishes with a cloth. Let's go over some tastes. Does that sound good? Gordon Ramsay, I think, he's a chef, but I guess you could say he's a foodie as well. You don't have to be someone who prepares food to be a foodie, but you can definitely say that he would be one. So sour. So we're going to go over some of the tastes in English now. So if you think about lemons or anything that's really citrusy, it usually has a sour taste to it. And you can see this is the face you make when you eat something that is sour. This one's a little bit harder to describe, but there's something can taste bitter. So I usually think about cabbage or something that's, something like a vegetable that has a certain, it's astringent. That's a pretty big word for you guys, but it's a bitter taste. It's a little bit different than sour, but it's pretty close. So bitter, something like cabbage. And then we have, of course, sweet. So you see here we have some chocolatey baked goods or brownies. So they would be very sweet. We also describe them as being sugary. So these, we could say that, oh, these are really sweet or these are really sugary. But this is the flavor that I like the most out of all the different flavors. And then, of course, we have salty. So salty, I don't know if you've had popcorn, but all of you use salt in your foods. It is the most common thing to put on food is salt around the world. But popcorn is definitely salty. Chips are salty. French fries can be salty. But some people really like salty food. So in my house, it's kind of funny because I like really sweet food. I like cookies and I like chocolate. I like everything that's really sweet. And Jen, my wife, she likes sweet food as well, but she also really likes salty food. And we notice also with our children, some of our kids like sweet food a lot. Some of our kids like salty food a lot. We also have, this isn't really a flavor, but we have spicy or hot food. So spicy doesn't need to mean hot, but anything with hot peppers in it, we would consider spicy food. And many of you eat food. Sorry, I'm laughing at Lost just said, don't show me the pictures, I'm starving. So that's a good word, by the way, Lost in SM. When you're starving, it means you're just so hungry. You can't control it anymore. But hot peppers are used in a lot of the countries that you are from. You guys cook with hot food, hot peppers, more than we do in Canada. We do like hot food, but sometimes when I eat food from around the world, it can be more hot. It's hotter than I'm expecting. So, and let's go over some of the types of food quickly. So we have vegetables. So that's like peppers and broccoli. Tomatoes, we call a vegetable, but I think they're actually a fruit. Cucumbers. So vegetables are usually your green foods that grow on plants. And then you're going to guess, I think the next one pretty easily, fruits. So things like bananas and oranges and apples, etc. are your fruits. These are the healthy foods. So if you want to be healthy, these are the foods you need to eat a lot of. I'm not sure if I said hi to Uu. Hello, Uu, welcome. It's good to see you again. Everyone, a lot of people are saying they love popcorn. They love chocolate, yes. And then it's bad for your health to have too much salt. Yes, definitely. Bamo says, what is another word we can use to say something is hot? Not spicy, just hot. So in English, we really just say hot. Like hot wings, we have hot peppers. So we actually just use the word hot for something that when you eat it, it's just your mouth starts to burn. So grains, so we had vegetables, fruits, and grains. So this is your grains are here like wheat and barley and rye. And then we make flour out of it. And from the flour, we make different kinds of breads. So that's your grains. And then, of course, we already saw this, but you have your meats. So here we have fish we consider a meat. You could also say that it's seafood, but meats are things like beef, pork, chicken, salmon, trout, tuna. All those things are meats, which is a food group that some people don't eat. And I have a lot of respect for people that don't eat meat. I do eat meat. I eat far less than I used to. The less meat I eat, the healthier I am. So I need to think about my future with meat. So Sejun says, I never eat vegetables. Well, Sejun's coming to Canada in a few months. I'm gonna grow some vegetables and we'll see if he eats them. Let's see here. Oh, and then dairy. So dairy is anything made from cow's milk, goat's milk, or sheep's milk. So we have cheese, we have milk, you have things like yogurt, and things like ice cream. And then I don't consider this a food group, but there's also junk food. So junk food, we have chips in Canada. I think in Britain they call them crisps. But potato chips. So these are like really thin slices of potato and they're deep fried in oil and then you buy them in a bag. So we would consider them junk food. We also consider like chocolate and candies. Those are also things we would consider junk food. So I have a few things left here. One is in Canada, a lot of people are starting to want organic food. So when you grow food on a farm, sometimes you have to spray to kill bugs or insects, and sometimes you spray to kill weeds. But there's a kind of food where the farmer doesn't do that, okay? So they just grow the food without using any chemicals. So food grown without chemicals is called organic food. And some people believe it's healthier. I'm not sure what I think yet about that, but that's one of the things that I have to think about as well. Do I want to start eating more organic food? Sorry, I was trying to ask about the temperature, said Vamos. Yeah, that's a little tricky because when we cook food, it's hot when we eat it, right? Because it came out of the oven. So we say it's hot or boiling hot. But we also use the word hot if it has a lot of peppery spice in it. So tricky one. So John said, the people who don't eat meat, you call them vegetarian. That's correct. What do you call the people that don't eat vegetables? I'm not sure. There's a pretend word called meatitarian. It's not a real word, but people do say that. I think vegetables and fruit are not killing people. Yes. Organic food is without chemicals, and it is more expensive, Clive. That's correct. So just last couple of minutes here, we're going to go over just a few sayings that involve food or idioms. Some of you have seen this one before. I did it on my short lesson channel. But in English, if I say something is a piece of cake, it means that it's really easy. So if I was to say, you know what, I love climbing trees. For me, to climb a tree, it's a piece of cake. It means that it's really, really easy for me to climb a tree. I don't know why I use that example. I haven't climbed a tree in a long time. So, and when you buy something and you call it a lemon, it means that it's defective. We often use the word lemon to describe vehicles like cars. So sometimes when you buy a used car, it ends up having all kinds of problems and you need to get it repaired. We call that car a lemon. So when you buy a lemon, it's not just the fruit lemon. You could say, you know, I bought a car and I had to take it to the garage 6 times since I bought it. It's a real lemon. So it means it's like something you bought that doesn't work properly. This lesson's a piece of cake. Yeah, it's easy as pie. That's the other one, right? When we say bring home the bacon, it means that you make money. So just imagine that there is a husband and wife that are, they're married and the wife works and the husband stays home. We would say that the wife is bringing home the bacon. Or maybe you are living in a household and your mom and dad, your mom is home and your dad goes to work every day. We would say that your dad is bringing home the bacon. It means that he's the one who's making money to support the family. So flat as a pancake. Sorry, I lost my pancake picture. One sec. At the very beginning, so these are pancakes, and you can see that this is a stack of pancakes, but if you look at just one, it's very, very, very flat. And we have a saying in English, if something is really, really flat, we say it's flat as a pancake. The province of Saskatchewan, the whole province, is flat as a pancake. There's no mountains or anything like that in Saskatchewan. As sweet as honey. So honey comes from bees, and would be a very nice person. So if I was to say, your grandma is sweet as honey, that really means that she is just a super, super, super nice person. Usually we use it to describe mostly women. Sometimes we use it to describe kids, right? Oh, like your kid is as sweet as honey. And then this one's kind of strange. Yeah, there's no more pics lost. We're almost done. Like taking candy from a baby. We use that to describe something that's really easy. So let's say, for me, it's really easy to talk. I like talking. You can say, for me, it's like taking candy from a baby, because I know none of you have ever done this, but if you take candy from a baby, it's really easy. You know, the baby can't defend themselves. But when we do something that's really easy, we say it's like taking candy from a baby. In English, if we sugarcoat something, it means that we make something sound better than it is. So maybe you have to tell your parents some bad news. You could sugarcoat it by not telling them all the details. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. Like, let's say you borrowed your parents' car and you hit a hydro pole or a telephone pole, or you went in the ditch with the car and you smashed it up. You could sugarcoat it by saying, you know, oh, there's just a few scratches. Like maybe there's a huge dent. Maybe the car is really wrecked. You can sugarcoat it. It's not lying exactly, but close to it. We're almost done here, folks. Variety is the spice of life. So spices are things we add to food. I should have put that on my list, but spices are things we add to food to make them taste better. And variety means doing a whole bunch of different things in life. So if all you do is go to work and go home and you never spice of life. And then cool as a cucumber. We would use that to describe someone who's super, super calm. So you could say like someone who, even when life goes bad, they're just really calm. We say that they're cool as a cucumber. But if you're in a pickle, it means that you, yeah, I wouldn't use flat as a pancake to describe people. No, just things. If you're in a pickle, it means you're in trouble. And then I think this is the last one. So I hope that this was food for thought for you. So when we say something is food for thought, it's when someone gives you an idea to think about. It's food for your brain to think about. So think about, like if I was to say to you, go through your day today and try to be nice to everybody, that's food for thought. So I've put an idea in your mind and it's food for your brain to think about today. So anyways, hey, I have a busy day ahead of me, so I have to wrap this up. That was another 30-minute lesson for you. Hit the like button and the subscribe button if you are new here. I'm Bob the Canadian. I am doing a live stream tomorrow night, my time again. I'll put some information up about that, but thank you so much everyone for watching. I think this went really well. I hope you're not too hungry now. I'm sure a lot of you will just go and have a snack now. I'm going to go, and I'm actually going on a class trip today. So in about half an hour, I'm taking my students on a bus and we're going to a place where we're going to actually help process and dry food for people who can't afford to buy it. So I'll talk more about that another time, but thank you so much, everybody. I didn't interact a lot on the chat today. Sorry about that, but I just wanted to get through the lesson. Bob the Canadian here. You're learning English with Bob the Canadian. Have a great day. I'm going to hit the button now.